kutufafanulia inamaanisha nini 2G, 3G, satellite, 4G inamaanisha nini. Joy Doreen Bira yuko studioni. Joy, leo sitakueleza mambo ya kudukua, lakini naona uko na wachanganuzi studioni, wanasemaje?
Asante Zubeida, and I'm still trying to figure out what dukua means, but I'll probably get that after elections. Now, today we are actually on about what the IEBC tweeted earlier today, and they said that 11,155 out of the 40,883 polling stations lack network, and presiding officers will move for better signal, use satellite phones to transmit the results. And they went on as well to say that the presiding officers will move to areas with network coverage, plus satellite devices are in all the 290 constituency tallying centers. Now, to break it down for us in the studio today, we've got forensics and digital experts. Kenise Agira, who is from the Cybersecurity and Forensics Association. Thank you so much for joining us. And we also have Fred Wahome, who is a forensics digital specialist. Now, Fred, I'm going to ask you, what does this mean when the IEBC says that they're not going to have network in 11,155 polling stations? Simply break it down for our digital people out there.
Okay, I think the main challenge that IBC are facing is that in these specific locations, the only network available is 2G. And as we know, the 2G is only transmission for voices. But when it comes to data, it requires 3G and 4G. And this is what is not there in those specific locations. Right. So the need to have another alternative. As you know, in data transmission, issue of business continuity is very important. And this is just a redundant network for them to deploy satellite. And there are so many advantages of doing satellite. One of them being it can transmit voice and data. And also, as well, it's used globally by very many agencies to transmit data.
Right.
Yes.
So we have people online. King's Edwin is saying, thought we were done with this drama of officers disappearing with results, then cooking them, you know. Is there a need for us to worry when the IEBC comes out and says, you know, some of the polling stations will not have network? What are the alternative networks that people online need to know about instead of creating a fuss about the fact that the IEBC mentioned this?
Yes, there are quite a number of networks that are available for use. But the issue is the locality where they are and all that. Right. For example, if you talk of 2G, 3G, 4G, mostly depend on cables and the telephone lines and all that. So this becomes much of a limitation. But you talk of satellite. Now, remember, satellite orbits the Earth and it's way up there. And so its availability, the level of reach is so high. So it becomes a good source and a good alternative to use. But be as it is, as we are told, they'll be using that. I think that is better than using nothing. So I don't think many people should be worried about this.
People should not be worried?
I think they should not be worried about this.
We have Eric here who is saying, what about scanning those files and sending them to the IEBC? That requires internet from Safaricom and Airtel. Satellite phones are for calling, they're not for sending. Is that right? Or is he actually a little misinformed about what exactly these satellite phones do? Maybe, Fred, you can chip in here.
Okay, well, I may partially agree with him because, well, they can use Safaricom, Airtel, but these networks run on 3G and 4G. And transmission of the files in form of an image, it may require some sort of bandwidth. And the problem is the 2G is the one that is available here. So they need to have satellite as form of transmission. So one advantage of using satellite is the issue of security. Yes. Compared to 3G, 4G, somehow we can say that at least satellite somehow has a good security infrastructure compared to others.
So we're having Amos Kungo here who is saying, dear IEBC team, you can't simply state this without convincingly allaying the legitimate concerns arising from such actions. You must do better. So do you think that maybe the IEBC has waited a little bit too late? You know, one day to elections, and they're telling us 11,000 polling stations are not going to have a network. And so officers might be asked to move from one polling station in search of network. Kenise.
I have to agree, it appears a little bit late, because if this was known well in time, then we would have been told really how will this work, so that it allays a lot of fear.
Right.
But now that it has been identified, and the satellite technology is also a good form of network technology, much should be read about this if it will convincingly work well. And we believe, as they say, it will work well.
It will work. All right, that's the hope that we have, that it's going to work. So everybody on Twitter and all the other social media platforms, keep calm. We are hoping for the best. I'll now hand you over to Mashirima Kapombe, who is in Kwale County, for more.